Hey guys, it's me, Balin911, and I'm coming at the second part of the actual plugins that I have that I'm expecting to get soon. So here is the server that I was talking about in the first part of the video, the Nighttime City Assault server. Although this one isn't going to be used as a staging point for that one, this is going to be used for a new plugin, which is a 24/7 war plugin. It's really cool, it's very innovative, and I think you guys would really enjoy it if we get everything running. So without further ado, basically, this is the arena. As you can see here, I made a hollow sphere of obsidian. I can't believe I almost called it TNT. And basically, here's what happens. You jump down here, and this is now an arena. And what happens, I mean, I'm sorry if I'm kind of being very broad and not focused on what I'm talking about at the very beginning of this, but so basically this is a red versus a blue, almost capture the flag type deal. I can't remember what the game type in Gears of War is called, but basically what the game is going to be is kill the leader. And what happens is you have a red and a blue team with bases kind of set up, not really. And what happens is that, you know, each team has a leader, the general is what they're called. And what happens is that at the beginning of each and every round, people have a chance to ante up or bid for earning the general position. So if you're like really rich and you want to, instead of buying stuff on the auction house or spending money on something that you may not need, if you save up your money and you bid for the general position and you win the bid, you get to become basically the most powerful person on your team for the round. And basically the whole aspect is playing all the time, having war, and then if you kill the general, the enemy team stops respawning and they only have one life left before the end of the round. And it's really cool, it's very innovative, like I said earlier. It gets people really involved in some really cool stuff. So here's a little bit of a makeshift base I made. Now here's one of the biggest things that I done mentioned so far is it's really based around the idea of user participation. I mean, this base is a demonstration. The whole point is that people, there's no mercy. You can go anywhere you want in this arena. I mean, the only thing you can't do is break obsidian. That's really it. And the whole point is to get people to fight all the time. In fact, one of the biggest things too is to get people to always lose their base. So let's say red team always loses their base, they have to go and build somewhere else, and they are constantly moving. So, you know, for the first part is they might start off over in the region over there next to that side, and then the next thing you know, they might be stuck in the hole down here. It's really all about the will to survive and build a base, because the whole point of a base is really, it's kind of like a real war. You're going to have people who are on the front lines, as well as you're going to need people who are on the back lines, providing you with potions, enchanted items, getting a couple of things, miners going. Now here's where the really cool stuff of the plugin goes, and I'm just trying to find my the second base I made. Here it is. Yeah, there it is. Sorry. So here's where the really cool stuff that comes into play. There's a couple classes that you get to choose from, and I'm going to kind of reveal some of them. So I'm going to actually not do anything in the video for a second so I can pull up the list. Let's see. Oh, I'm kind of mumbling again. I'm sorry if I'm trying to get everything really focused on and try to talk about everything. Make sure you guys have a perfect understanding of what this is, because it's a fantastic plugin. I am missing my folder file. Oh my god. Hold on, just 2 more seconds. Let me just find it. Ah, found it. So anyway, here's how the layout of everything goes. It's pretty interesting, and I think it's one of the really big like separations of being a person who wants to play just to have fun versus being somebody who wants to play and be able to like impact the server or be one of the guys who does a little bit of everything. So here's the classes. There is Fighter. He starts off with 1 strong armor piece, which is, I'm thinking, an iron piece of iron chest plate. He starts off with that, and now that's the other thing that I have to distinguish before I even get into more detail is one of the biggest things that you're going to need to focus around is that this server is based off of starting from scratch almost. You're basically going to spawn into the arena, and instead of being decked out in diamond gear, having full potions and everything, no, you're going to start off in leather or chain armor, because you just spawn. You haven't really been fighting in the war, so you don't have any supplies. So saying you have iron armor at the very beginning is a very big deal, because that pretty much secures you as a strong player at the very start. So yeah, Fighter will start off with an iron sword and an iron chest piece, and then the rest will just have some chainmail, and he'll have a couple pieces of food and some building materials. Now, when I say building materials, I mean like planks, you know, something that's burnable basically. And the whole point is to get people to like want to build in this arena. There's free building permission. You're not limited by the size of this. You can break any blocks you want. You can build anything you want. So if I'm a warrior and I come over here, I'm going to start building a little, and say my enemy's over there when they're not looking, I'm going to start building a little bridge. And the whole point is to get people to, like, you know, make things that are destroyable, versus like some people will even have obsidian so that they can make permanent bridges. Because one of the things I'm going to revoke is nobody is allowed to break obsidian, so that way people are forced to like think outside the box with their obsidian, because you're going to have a few blocks of it, but you can't really make it expendable. You really have to focus. It's almost like bedrock basically, if you have bedrock in your hand. So that's the fighter class. The knight material, or the knight class, and actually this was the one I was talking about, he starts off with full iron armor, although he only has a really weak sword, probably a wood or a stone, but I'm not sure on that just yet. He's very weak, but the whole point is he's a tanky class, you know, he's got that kind of stuff. Next up is the architect. He has no significant armor, he has no weapon, he has nothing except for one thing, and he has I believe it's going to be chain boots that have feather falling protection, so that way if he falls he can protect himself partially. He's gonna have food to eat and a couple potions, maybe just like of swiftness, just to kind of speed him up a little bit. But the whole point of him is to be that guy that I was talking about earlier. He's basically the bridge builder, you know. He makes the base that you're going to be fortifying in. He's going to have stone, he's going to have cobblestone, he's going to have a few pieces of brick, you know. He's going to be the guy that makes the base that protects you, you know. So if you lose your first base, if you have like 3 architects, you can build your base right back up, wham bam, and then you can start up again with supplying your soldiers with, you know, materials. And another thing that I just actually forgot to mention too is that you got to think about griefers when you're thinking about making a plugin like this. Is that, okay, how many people are going to come on this server, be a complete and utter dick, and then they're just going to come and join an enemy team, steal all their stuff, and then join another team? We don't allow that. Basically, you're almost unable to do any of that stuff that griefers normally do, and you can't switch teams until we further decide. So the only thing that people can really do that's bad would be spy. So as a spy, they come in, they do that nasty shit where like they will tell the enemy team where their coordinates are. That's a bannable offense. So if you break that rule, you can get kicked off the server in less than a heartbeat. So you never know. Anyway, so now back to the classes. Next class is the Brewmaster. He has some chain armor, but he has no weapons on him at all. And he has potion stands, or the materials to build potion stands. Now here's the kicker, is that he has one water bucket, and then he has a bunch of glass bottles, and he has all the raw materials to brew potions. Instead of just being like, okay, here's some potions, go for it. No, we're actually giving him the materials, and he has to spend the time to brew the best potions that he can that'll help affect the fight. So he's going to be the guy that's brewing potions, and I'll spoil the next class. Is called the Runner. He gives them to the runner goes out into the front lines, and he gives people the, you know, the materials, and they can go and survive even a little bit longer. The whole point is like to get the server with a full like 200 people almost, and have them non-stop fighting with each other. Instead of being a regular PvP faction server, no, they're always fighting. There's no breaks. So next class, and I'm sorry for the dogs in the background, is the Enchanter. The Enchanter just gets he gets sugarcane, and I'll tell you why in a second. He gets an enchanting stand, and then he gets the materials. He needs some of the materials to build the enchanting stand, like he gets the obsidian, but he doesn't get the diamonds. That's focused on the miner, who has to give him the diamonds to make it. If he breaks an enchanting table, it'll get destroyed immediately, so you can't get your enchanting tables back. So what he gets is, he gets just a couple of raw materials, not much, like a couple iron ingots to make a sword. That's about it, because he's really focused around how effective the miner is at his job. And anyway, so with that, he gets enchanting bottles for EXP. Now here's the counter to this, is that he'll get that all the ability to enchant stuff, but what's to say that he can't go run out into the field, make a little makeshift stand, and he gives somebody else the enchanting bottles. He goes and kills himself, respawns, and comes back as an enchanter. Well, I can't really think of a full-on focus against that, but the main thing is that you want him kind of on the front lines, but you also want to give him something like the ability to repair stuff, so that if he's on the front lines, people can give them their damaged as hell items, and he can go and just go wham bam, it's fixed, and now I can enchant it as well. So in essence, the enchanter is also the armorer, who gives you, your ability to repair stuff, but he's only a sub armor. He doesn't have the main focus that an armorer actually does have.